I now call Stuart Stevenson. Minister, you have 7 minutes.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer, and thank you to Shirley-Ann Somerville for bringing forward this motion. I am pleased, on behalf of the Government, to support WWF's EarthHour 2009, as countries across the world will similarly be doing. We shall turn off non-essential lights in all 44 core buildings on the 28th of March, as indeed will this Parliament. EarthHour raises awareness of sustainability and tackling climate change globally and across Scotland. And it's very clear from the contributions tonight that Parliament supports EarthHour, cares about climate change and recognises the need for action. And as Alec Johnson said, it's more than a gesture. And indeed, looking at what's happened in previous years, in 2008 it's thought that 36 million people participated in EarthHour. In Bangkok they suggested they saved 4.16 tonnes of carbon in that single hour. Toronto saved 900 megawatt hours of electricity, and in Ireland as a whole they made significant reductions of 150 megawatt hours, about 6 tonnes of carbon. And the best result is said to have been from Christchurch, New Zealand, where they reported a 13% reduction in electricity demand, which was very pleasing indeed. And of course, members in their contributions have highlighted the need to work in partnership. And this is a subject where I think partnership has been working effectively. We have good relations with colleagues at Westminster through their passage of the UK Climate Change Act, with local authorities who unanimously supported Scotland's climate change declaration, and with a partnership which clearly exists across Scotland in supporting EarthHour. It's about individual action as well as corporate action, a point that many members have made. We have to do our bit now to reduce emissions, prepare for the unavoidable impacts of climate change, encourage environmentally responsible behaviour, while supporting new technologies and innovations to take advantage of the future low-carbon economy. Our Climate Change Challenge Fund has so far helped 56 communities reduce carbon emissions, building a sustainable future. The Go Greener campaign gives advice on energy efficiency and on reducing waste. The Energy Saving Trust supports consumers on sustainable energy issues. And the Carbon Trust is working with organisations to reduce emissions. The EU Emissions Trading Scheme and the forthcoming carbon reduction commitment are encouraging low-carbon technologies. So we will work closely with industry, we will further develop Scotland's massive renewable energy potential to deliver on target of generating 20% energy consumption from renewable resources by 2020. Various members made some specific references I want to pick up. Malcolm Chisholm made reference to the need to act in the next 10 years. One of the amendments the Government has indicated to the TIC Committee that we will seek to bring forward at stage 2 is to set a target for 2020 rather than the 2030 that the current draft has. So I think that both aligns with what's happening elsewhere, but also is a spur to action. Robin Harper said, is it simple? Yes. Simple to say, a little more difficult to persuade everyone to do. But he is, of course, right. I'm delighted to hear that Rob Gibson's partner, Eleanor, is in for a surprise dinner on Saturday night. I too think that protecting bees is very important, if only because I have a rather sticky complaint in the back of my throat, and I think some royal jelly is probably now called for, which of course was the Queen Mum's favourite remedy for many issues. Des McNulty called upon us to have a darkness party. I don't think he was talking politics, but celebration, and I think that there's certainly something in that, and pointed to actions like this moving climate change issues onto an even broader agenda. Alec Johnson, it's good to know he learns something some of the time, told us that it was an informative motion and that he learned much from it. We in Scotland have huge opportunities, but also huge responsibilities to make our contribution to the world climate change agenda. The First Minister said we can punch well above our weight. We have a bill that's been described by WWF as the most ambitious in the world. We have to live up to that. We have to continue to improve it. The government, this minister, is certainly up for that. We do, of course, have negotiations in Copenhagen to secure agreement to succeed the Kyoto Protocol. It is important that good progress is made on that. We have, as a government, encouraged our staff to act. The intranet for the government has had an article on it showing how they can practically make their contribution. Across the web, as others have referenced, there are similar actions encouraging people to go forward. One of the most exciting changes I think we've seen, given the size of the country and the consumption of resources, was in President Obama's inaugural speech, where he, in a clear change of direction, said we shall harness the sun, the wind and the land, indicating an engagement with the agenda which is perhaps greater than we've seen before. Dark nights at home, people talked about as being of value, and it's one of the great pleasures of living in the country on a dark, clear night to go out and see the whole panoply of stars from horizon to horizon, something which light pollution elsewhere prevents. And indeed, my brother and I, many years ago in the 1960s, at 3 in the morning, saw the Pleiades meteor shower, something which one could not see if one had the kind of light pollution. It's unusual for Parliament to call for the government to turn the lights out, but on this one occasion we're going to do it, albeit some of us may watch the match before completing the activity. I support the motion standing in my colleague's name.